A 50-year-old restaurant chain posted a 31% sales increase while their competitors filed for bankruptcy. That's the kind of growth you see when a fast food joint drops a viral menu item. Except this is Chili's, the same chain your parents dragged you to for mediocre ribs and awkward birthday celebrations. Industry experts are calling it the greatest restaurant turnaround in history. The former CEO of Yum Brands, the company that owns KFC and Taco Bell, said he never saw numbers like this in his entire career, and thought casual dining was dead and gone. So what happened? How did a forgotten chain become the hottest dining spot for Gen Z? The answer involves smart psychology, $400 million, and stringy cheese pulls. In 2022, the casual dining industry was collapsing. Red Lobster filed for bankruptcy in May 2024, with over $1 billion in debt after their endless shrimp promotion lost them $11 million. TGI Fridays filed bankruptcy in November 2024, closing 40% of their locations in just 6 months. Applebee's posted negative sales for 4 straight quarters and has closed over 300 restaurants since 2017. Denny's announced they're shutting down 150 locations by 2025. Outback closed 41 stores in a single year. This wasn't a few chains having a bad quarter, it was an entire industry dying. Fast casual spots like Chipotle were stealing younger customers. Fast food prices had jumped 30% since the pandemic, but sit-down restaurants weren't seeing any benefit from it. The fatal problem was this: casual dining wasn't cool enough for Gen Z, wasn't nice enough for special occasions, wasn't fast enough for convenience, and wasn't cheap enough to justify the mediocre food most places were serving. The whole category seemed headed for extinction. Kevin Hochman walked into this mess as the new CEO of Brinker International, Chili's parent company, in June 2022. He'd previously run KFC, where he brought back the Colonel Sanders mascot, and before that worked on the famous Old Spice commercials. This guy understood something most restaurant executives never did. You cannot advertise your way out of a quality problem. You have to fix the actual food and service before you start marketing. At his first conference as CEO, he created a fake magazine cover dated August 2025 with the headline about Chili's making a comeback and showed everyone exactly how he'd pull it off. By the second quarter of fiscal year 2025, Chili's hit that insane 31.4% same-store sales growth with nearly 20% more customers walking through the door. The stock price shot up over 200% in 2024. They made over $5 billion in revenue for the first time ever. They went from being a cautionary tale to becoming the #1 casual dining chain in America. One analyst said this might be the best turnaround of all time in the space. Hochman spent 2 years and over $400 million rebuilding Chili's before anything went viral. He cut 25% of the menu, removing over 50 items that made the kitchen chaotic and slowed everything down. He focused on 5 main categories: burgers, chicken crispers, fajitas, margaritas, and the triple dipper. These now make up 58% of all sales, up from 40%, but cutting the menu was just the start. He invested over $100 million in hourly workers, growing from under 60,000 employees to over 70,000 when every other chain was cutting staff to save money. He added more bussers to clear tables and extra cooks to handle more orders. He spent another $100 million on facilities, fixing roofs, updating bathrooms, replacing equipment, all the boring stuff customers don't notice until it's broken. He upgraded ingredients, better quality chicken, 50% thicker bacon, fresh guacamole made daily instead of pre-sliced avocados. He even changed the pickle jars. Previously, kitchen staff had to wrestle with 5-gallon jugs that required special tools to open. Switching to smaller jars saved $500,000 a year and got rid of a safety hazard. That's the level of attention to detail happening behind the scenes. The technology upgrades were equally intense. Chili's installed new high-tech ovens called Turbo Chefs in every location in under 6 months, one of the fastest equipment rollouts in restaurant history. These ovens cook food faster, more evenly, and are easier to clean than the old ones. They set up new digital screens in kitchens, so cooks could tap for recipes instantly instead of flipping through huge binders. They brought back those little tablets you see on tables, called kiosks, to over 1,100 locations in just 4 months, and 90% of customers started using them. Now guests can order extra drinks, pay their bill, and join the rewards program right from the table without waiting for a server. Behind the scenes, they used artificial intelligence to analyze 20 million customer surveys every year, giving them real-time feedback on what was working and what wasn't. They tracked profiles for 9 to 10 million guests to understand their habits and preferences. The average customer went from visiting every 37 weeks to every 31 weeks. That's a huge improvement. Hochman also started doing monthly visits where he'd go to different locations and ask managers two simple questions. What are you excited about? What's one thing you would change if you were CEO? This led to the pickle jar fix, eliminating a prep step that saved 47 years of labor annually, the switch to fresh guacamole, and hundreds of other improvements. Every decision was about making things easier for employees so they could take better care of customers. April and May 2024 changed everything. TikTok suddenly exploded with videos of Chili's mozzarella sticks. One video hit 6.3 million views. The Triple Dipper, where customers pick 3 appetizers like boneless wings, burger sliders, southwestern egg rolls, and those famous mozzarella sticks for under $20, had been on the menu for years. It was never the star until now. George Felix, the chief marketing officer who came from KFC with Hochman, admitted they were initially pushing a different burger campaign. But when the organic Triple Dipper content took off, they made a smart call by dropping everything and amplifying what was already working. Triple Dipper sales doubled overnight. It now makes up 14% of all business, up from 8%. There were over 200 million TikTok views about this one dish by November 2024. The value strategy made everything else possible. They have something called the 3 for Me deal that launched in 2022 at $10.99. You get a full entree, a side dish, unlimited chips and salsa, and unlimited refills on your drink. If you want to add a margarita, that's only $3.99 more. Hochman kept this price exactly the same, while fast food costs went through the roof. By early 2024, getting a combo meal at McDonald's could easily cost you $15 to $18. Chili's recognized this was the perfect moment and used it to their advantage. In April 2024, they launched the Big Smasher Burger, nearly half a pound of meat with twice the beef of a Big Mac, as part of that $10.99 3 for Me deal. By putting themselves up against $15 fast food combos instead of other sit-down restaurants, Chili's completely changed how people thought about value. One analyst perfectly captured it. I could pay fast food prices or get an even cheaper deal at Chili's with a nice sit-down meal. While they advertised that $10.99 entry price, they also offered premium options at $14.99 and $16.99, and 50% of people chose those more expensive options. They also doubled their sales of fancy margaritas over $10 by offering high-end tequila brands like Casamigos, Don Julio, and Teremana. So the value message got people in the door, but the actual amount people spent was going up through smart menu design. There's this concept in consumer research called perceived value theory, which basically says that value is how people judge what they're getting versus what they're paying. Chili's succeeded on all these levels. They actually improved the food quality with better ingredients. They gave people good feelings through nostalgia and comfort food during stressful times. They became TikTok famous, which gave customers something cool to post about. Their timing was perfect when people wanted to eat out again after the pandemic, but were worried about money. They offered the novelty of rediscovering a forgotten brand, and they provided genuine affordability. After the pandemic, people's psychology around food completely changed. People started using food rituals to cope with stress, and ate more comfort foods to feel better. After years of isolation and delivery, people desperately wanted to eat out socially again, but they were also nervous about spending too much money. Chili's offered the perfect balance, an affordable social experience with comfort food in a clean, fun environment. When Chili's went viral, it created a snowball effect. More people posted about it, which drove more visits, which created more content, which sped up the cycle even more. While Chili's was pulling off this turnaround, their competitors were falling apart. Applebee's posted negative sales, meaning fewer people came and spent less money, for 4 quarters in a row, while Chili's was posting double-digit and then 30% plus growth. In November 2024, Applebee's tried to fight back by launching a $9.99 combo meal, undercutting Chili's by exactly $1. The bankruptcy stories paint an even darker picture. Red Lobster filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in May 2024. Their ultimate endless shrimp promotion, which they made permanent in 2023, thinking it would bring in customers, ended up losing them $11 million as people figured out how to game the system and seafood costs went up. They had to close over 100 locations during bankruptcy and came out of it a shadow of their former selves. TGI Fridays had it even worse. In January 2024, they had 269 US locations. By the time they filed bankruptcy in November, they were down to 163, losing 40% of their restaurants in just 10 months. Both Red Lobster and TGI Fridays show what would have happened to Chili's without the transformation. They got caught in what business people call a doom loop. When sales decline, companies cut costs to save money, which makes the experience worse for customers, which causes more sales to decline, which causes more cost cuts. Breaking out of that cycle requires spending a lot of money at exactly the moment when you can least afford it. Most executives either can't or won't take that risk. Hochman did, and it paid off massively. The big question is, can they keep this up? Can Chili's maintain 30% growth, or is this just a temporary trend that will fade once TikTok moves on to the next viral thing? After posting that 31.4% growth in the second quarter, they followed it up with 31.6% in the third quarter, with 21% more customers. The momentum actually got stronger instead of fading. For comparison, that's similar to what Popeyes did during their legendary viral chicken sandwich launch. Customers went from visiting every 37 weeks on average to every 31 weeks. People aren't just trying Chili's once because of TikTok, they're actually coming back. Looking ahead, Chili's has a clear plan to keep the momentum going. They're investing money to completely redesign 200 of their oldest locations that haven't been updated in 20 to 30 years, planning to remodel about 100 restaurants per year once they finalize the new design. They've built what business people call a competitive moat, which means advantages that are really hard for competitors to copy. Hochman said it straight. It's very hard to replace all that in a short period. It's gonna take them several years to catch up. You can undercut us all you want. It's not gonna matter. The operational excellence requires sustained investment over years. Chili's proved that with the right leadership, enough money to invest, operational discipline, and connection to what consumers actually want, even the most written-off category can come roaring back to life. The casual dining industry isn't dead. It just needed someone to believe it was worth saving and actually put in the years of work to save it. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more business wizardry, smash that like and subscribe button.